Hey, everybody, you know what? I am often asked, is AdWords worth it? You know, AdWords, which is now called Google Ads, it can be a really solid way to put your business in front of qualified customers who are really ready to buy. And for some businesses, Google Ads, they're driving over 90% of the sales coming into the business. It works. I mean, if you look at just the amount of businesses, take your number one keyword, type it in to Google, and you will see competitors fiercely bidding for those spots. So there is something to Google Ads, but it's, will it work? Can you make it work? Will AdWords work for me? See, a lot of people, AdWords honestly has become an incredible money pit. And it's sad because they'll run ads and they fail to generate a profit, and they usually stop the ads because they say it didn't work. And they'll say something like AdWords are just not worth it, or Google Ads are not worth it. They're a waste of money. It didn't work for me. I hear that so many times and so often. See, in most cases, those that struggle with Google Ads, they're simply making some simple but not always obvious mistakes. So in this video, I'm going to show you the top mistakes that people make with their Google Ads and how you can avoid them and what you can do instead. So if I ask you, is AdWords worth it? You'll know without a doubt whether it's worth it for you or not. So let's begin. Hey everyone, I'm Richard Cruz, and my agency, WSI Priority Media, we test, we develop cutting edge Google Ads strategy every single day in our own campaigns. Then I turn around and create these videos for you to give you tips and strategies that hopefully will help you run better, more profitable Google Ads. So let's talk about what's good about Google Ads, and then let's dig into the common mistakes to avoid so that you'll have a better understanding if Google Ads is worth it or not. Google has changed their platform. The local search, it used to be called the 7-pack. 7 local businesses were listed in the map section at the top of the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lots and lots of real estate that was given to you. And these were totally organic results, 100% free from Google to you. Zero cost per click. Zero, nada, nothing, zilch, free. But Google's changed. They have now made the 7-pack into a 1, 2, 3-pack. That's it, guys. That's all that organic gets anymore. So what have they done? They've dedicated a much greater portion to the section that's above the maps. Now what they've done is they've literally pushed down the maps, and they allow 4 paid listings that go above it, plus any Google shopping to go right above the free maps and the free organic sections as well too. Those are pushed down even lower. So if you run Google Ads, you can actually have the number one spot in maps. They call it the 3-pack, but now it's actually become the 4-pack, because if you're using Google Ads correctly and efficiently, you just inject yourself into this number one spot right here. By the way, that is really, really prime, very, very good real estate to be in right there. And that's one of the pluses of Google Ads that you can really take advantage of, and it can work for your benefit. Why are they doing all of this? Well, look, 90% of Google's revenue, it comes from advertising. So that's why you see a shift away from organic, which is giving more real estate to paid ads. So what's happened now by shifting so much up, what they've also done is they've also allowed us running Google Ads to be able to start to using extensions. Oh my gosh. I mean, extensions have just become a major, major advantage if you use them well. There's site link extensions, location extensions, call extensions, lead form extensions. All of these give you more real estate. So I can take a typical ad that just shows the headline, the URL, and then the description. And now I start putting in all of these additional extensions, and I can take an ad that is this big and I can literally make it like my fingers don't go that much, but that big and that much real estate. However, take a look at this. You've got 4 paid ads that are going above the organic. And on a mobile device, when you take, and especially ones that are really well laid out with all the extensions, 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to go scroll so far down before you get into the freebies anymore that it almost is very difficult to generate enough traffic without going into paid and getting yourself up there. So the game has changed. More and more real estate has been devoted to the paid section. So when somebody asks, is AdWords worth it? Based on this major shift here, there is a lot of business that can be had in the Google Ads platform, a lot. But the key is, can you make that profitable for you? That is the key. It doesn't matter that, literally Google holds the key to the kingdom. Guys, anybody that is searching for you, your business, your product, your service online, they're going to Google now. Google is a company, but it's also a verb. It's what people do to go search. I want to find something. Yeah, go Google it. So they control that whole kingdom. And if somebody's searching, that's where they're going to go. And so you need to make sure that you're present there, but you have got to be profitable. That's the whole key. Be profitable. If you're profitable, I don't know anybody who would say, hey, AdWords isn't worth it or Google Ads isn't worth it. Here's the first thing I want you to be totally aware of. CPC versus CPA. And really, really follow me on this one because it's so important, because I see so many people get hung up on CPCs or their cost per click. They're trying to manage the campaign based on getting the best CPCs. Look, CPC is only a vanity number. It's not the way to navigate a campaign. The more important number that you need to make sure that you measure and that you're guiding your campaign with is based on your CPA or your cost per acquisition. That's where the money's at, folks. You ever hear that term, show me the money? CPA. That is the bottom line of showing you the money. So how much it costs to get you a lead is what your CPA is. So your goals and your analytics, they have to be spot on. And so that you have good data and you can attribute every single conversion and every lead accurately. And so it's important that you understand the lifetime value of your customer. The lifetime value of your customer is crucial for you to know, because based on that, you can work backwards and you can determine how much you can afford to pay to acquire a customer. Once you know that number, then you start to shape your campaign to generate consistent, steady, reliable CPAs. Once you know your number, you can hit it, and then it becomes like a Vegas slot machine. You put in a quarter, you get back $1 every time. If you can get that, put in a quarter, get back $1, and you can do it consistently every single time, the machine never fails. You put in 10 in a row, you get 10 back in a row. You do 100 in a row, you get 100 back. And if you can do that every single time with that Vegas slot machine, how often would you be putting quarters in it? Look, you probably would not want to stop. You would probably go out and hire crews to work shifts to feed your machine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because every quarter makes you $1. And it's the same with Google Ads. The key to successful Google Ads is once you have your CPA, your profitable CPA that you know that you put in your quarter, you get your $1 back, or whatever that ROI number is for you, you absolutely at that point there, scale it. Scale it to the point of your capacity, whatever your capacity is to be able to handle the business that you have. That is the way to navigate and to manage a campaign. CPAs, not by CPCs. Remember this, it is an auction. Is AdWords worth it based on what you've heard so far? Before deciding, you need to understand one very, very important factor, and that this is an auction, and do not forget it. See, you and all of your competitors, you get the same bid if you're using automation, by the way. Don't just rely on Google setting it up for you. The reps there, they're not experts. They're trained to ask you to turn on as much automation as possible. If you ever talk with a Google rep, you'll see all the recommendations, turn on this automation, that automation, that automation, that automation. They really like the automations. So what happens with automations is that it's simple. It is so easy. It is like a tricycle. You can't fall over, but you can't go very, very fast either. So with the automation like Smart Campaigns, you have no bidding control. So imagine that all of your competitors have the same paddle in the auction. How do you beat everybody else if you got the same paddle, the same bid, the same everything else as everybody else? You can't. You have to do it in expert mode, where you can actually take control of the auction, and all you need to do is win by a nose. In the Pegasus World Cup, the number one horse got $4 million in prize money. $4 million. The second place only received $1 million. Was that number one horse 4 times faster? Was that number one horse 4 times better? No, he only won by a nose, a mere literally hundredths of a second. And so in the Google Ads auction, you only need to win the auction by a nose. If all of your competitors all are using smart mode, they all have the same paddle, they have the same exact processes, how is one going to beat the other? They have no controls. And so if you can go out of smart mode and you're just a little bit better, you can win in the auction. You'll have a better setup, you'll have better tools, better targeting, better control, and it is really that simple. Get control and win by a nose. Google Ads reps, again, they're willing to help. Oh my gosh, they are there. They're willing to give you tips and recommendations, but their recommendations are usually suggesting the automations, the tricycles, the training wheels. That same exact suggestion goes out to every single person. So beat them. If I'm bidding against you, I can see your ads. I know if you're using smart ads. I know what you can and cannot do. And all I have to do is beat you by a nose, and I will get more success than you will. And you'll be like everybody else in the auction with little or no control. And I'll be able to take better advantage, get better ROIs, and beat you every single time. Look, Google has zero responsibilities if your ads perform well or not. If your ads generate a profit or they lose, and they lose a lot of money, you're not eligible for any type of refunds with Google, not even sympathy. We call it paying the stupid tax. So remember, a rep has an inherent conflict of interest. They'll give you the information to set up kind of their latest tools, their latest releases and such, but your profitability, your CPA is completely up to you. Next item, keyword management. You have to be on top of your keywords. Measure and understand how they are performing, and more importantly, the intent. So for example, working with a plastic surgeon, they offer tummy tucks, and we run ads for tummy tucks for them. And the term tummy tuck surgeon near me, for example, is one term, and we have tummy tuck, and then that's another term. And if you look at both of the terms, the term tummy tuck surgeon shows a much greater intent for someone probably looking for a doctor soon. But we measure the costs and the conversions. I don't assume that I know one's going to perform better than the other. I can tell basically but the intent, but I go in and I measure and see what kind of CPAs I'm generating from every single one of the different related keywords. My job is to find the keywords that are going to be converting at the highest level that we can get at the lowest cost, and we can make work. Not necessarily the lowest CPCs, but the highest CPAs. We run everyday campaigns where we may have a $5 CPC and a $30 CPC. And you would think to stay away from that high expensive $30, but we're able to get a better cost per acquisition or CPA on the more expensive keyword than we are on the cheaper one. So again, that's why you need to measure everything, find the winners, eliminate the budget wasters, use your negative keywords especially, and block terms that waste money. Like for example, we had in this campaign, cheap tummy tuck. Those are money wasters, and we get rid of all of those and keep it really, really sterile to get the best performing keywords coming through. The next item is goal management. This is really, I think, the icing on the cake. Goal management is probably the best kept secret that makes Google Ads work extremely profitable. And when I audit accounts, I often see it as totally missing, like really, really often. With goals, you develop a process that generates more profit for you by identifying who is seriously interested and who's not. See, in every campaign, we create a scorecard. The average landing page has what kind of conversion rate? 3 to 8%. That means that 93% or more people will bounce. They'll visit your site without ever buying from you. So we'll build this virtual scorecard on the landing page that's based on micro goals and macro goals. Micro goals are actions like time on the site that they spent. The longer that they're on the site, the higher score they get. The number of pages that they browse will add additional points. How far down the page that they scroll generates point, and it shows us how serious that they are, how engaged they are with your content. And another one is how much video that they watch on your landing page, and that also assigns a point. Do they watch it to 10%? Do they watch it to 50% or 100%? Each one of those are different levels of points. So if anybody leaves your site without hitting the macro goal is a conversion. And so if they leave your site without hitting the macro goal, then the scorecard automatically identifies who is serious and who is not serious. Then you go after the customers with the highest intent and you hit them heavily through a remarketing campaign and display ads with display banners, through Gmail ads, and through video remarketing through YouTube. You become like a huge, big fish in a small pond, but you only spend money on highly interested, very qualified buyers. Don't just go remarket the world. You will waste money. You go after heavily on the ones that have passed your scorecard and have shown without a reasonable doubt that they are more than likely on the edge and they're going to buy from you or somebody else. And so you pepper them and you bring them back to you. The closing ratio on those is extremely high. The cost per acquisition is unbelievable by targeting that way. And we've seen campaigns from good to great to absolutely over the top amazing in their profitability many times over just by implementing this one simple change in their accounts. So what do you think? Is AdWords worth it? My opinion, yes, absolutely, without a single doubt. If, and here's the key, if you understand the common pitfalls and how to avoid them. If there are customers in your marketing looking for your product or they're looking for your service, and if you run tightly managed campaigns, you have an incredible chance of being successful. But you want to test different strategies, find the one that works best for you, that you acquire at a low CPA, that generates a high profit margin, that helps you hit that Vegas slot machine. Because the key is scalability. Build a profitable campaign and then scale it up. I hope that you have learned at least one thing in this video. And if you did, do me a favor, leave that one thing in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. It helps me create better videos later on. And if I can be of help to you in your marketing, call me or message me at wsi@prioritymedia.net. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and share it and subscribe so that you're alerted to future training videos like this. Hey, thank you for watching. It was a joy being with you today.